Hello, everyone. Welcome to Monday Live with Alan and Greg. And tonight we are going to be having open mic. And what open mic means is that in about 5-10 minutes or so, I will put the link to the show in the comments. And if you want to join in the live show, you just click on it and I will add you to the show. I don't think we'll have too many volunteers that will clog up the system, but we shall see. Clog it. Yeah, I'm only allowed like 4 or 5 guests.
Oh,
and
I thought it was 6.
What?
Then you have to pay for it. I thought it was 6.
It could be 6, but I don't have the paid version. Oh, we already have a volunteer to go live in the comments. Well, you know something? If he wants to go live, we'll just start off the show with a bang.
Okay, yeah, you want to bring everybody on? That's cool.
Yeah. There we go. There we go, Randy. You can join live. So, how are things going in Portland tonight?
Great. The sun's out. I had every light on in the house on, and even the light behind me, but now the sun's out, so. But it's going great. I haven't even eaten dinner yet. It's only 5 o'clock.
That's still early.
Yeah.
We had a hot day in Virginia. I was sitting on my sun deck and I'm going, this is too hot.
Really? Wow.
Well, that sun deck is a couple like 10 to 20 degrees higher than the outside temperature. And let's welcome Randy to the show. How's it going, Randy?
You ready?
Hey, guys.
Hey. You look comfy.
Uh-oh. Well, it's going all right. I had chemo today, but I'm still hanging in there.
That's good.
Yeah, I'm lying down for a little while. I'm letting my phone charge by my bed because I'm going to make videos tonight.
Excellent. And you know something? We're sort of a laid-back show, and we're not too worried. And let's take a look here. We got another person. It says, "Hey you." Oh, she's in New York City, and it's also super hot in New York City. I can imagine.
New York City.
Well, no. Oh, wait a second. She just says New York. She did not say New York City. So she could be anywhere in New York.
I'm going to leave and come back. Hang on.
No problem.
I was going to say New York City. That's where they make the best salsa from. Randy would know. Hey, there's Hannah. Hey, Hannah.
Hey, Hannah. Glad you could make it.
And Gareth.
And Gareth is there too.
Gareth's up 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah. So
Well, we know it's late with Gareth because he never sleeps.
Yeah, so I think it's 2 a.m. there now.
Something like that. Oh, here comes Randy back. Hey, Randy.
I'm back. I had YouTube going in another window on my phone, so everything was echoing and there was a delay. So I had to go figure out how to turn that off.
That's not a problem.
It's good to see you guys.
Good to see you too.
Yeah, Randy.
I take a steroid called dexamethasone every Monday.
Right.
And meth is right there in the name of this particular medication. But it makes me unbelievably talkative. I've talked my roommate's ears off today. And then I realized, you know what? I could be using this to make videos.
You could. I was so lazy today, I didn't want to do anything. I just lay around. Like I said, I had my sun deck, and it was just too hot on my sun deck. That's telling Alan, because of the way the windows and the sun is, it's about, in the winter, 20 degrees hotter in my sun deck. So it could be like 40 degrees out in my sun deck, and I can sit outside in the middle of winter and be perfectly happy because it's warm. But today it was just kind of yucky.
Yeah, my 2 windows here face west, so my apartment stays relatively cool. And now I was forced to get an air conditioner. I really didn't even want one, but I have a air conditioner that with hoses out the window. Looks like I'm in a bunker or basement, but it works really well and it's energy efficient. So we'll see this summer.
You get to be my size, and you really prefer it to be cooler. So I have central heat and air, but I also have a window unit in my bedroom in case the central air goes out.
Okay. Well, you're in Texas, and it can get dangerously hot down there.
Dangerously hot. Yeah, it's funny. They gave me a social worker when I got out of the hospital this last time, and she came over, and she had this huge thing about wellness. And I swear half of it was just about where to go in certain emergency situations, like too much heat.
Fortunately, I have my basement, and it's mostly underground, so you get that cooling effect. If it got really, really hot and we lost power, you just go in the basement and be fairly cool.
You like it cool
We don't
anyway.
have basements in Texas.
Now, is that just Is that just the ground doesn't allow the basements, or is it?
I think so. I think, I live in an area of Texas called the Blackland Prairie, and there's a lot of clay in the soil here, and it moves around a lot. I remember we went to high school. When I went to high school, it was a brand new high school, and there was a little tiny crack in the middle of the basketball gym. But by the time I graduated, that crack was a good 4 or 5 inches wide.
Okay.
And the old timers used to say, well, if they hadn't built it on that swamp over there, it wouldn't have done that.
All right. So I'm in Long Island, but grew up mostly in Manhattan. Okay.
Yeah. I've not been.
I love Manhattan.
I've not been yet. I'd love it too. I would like to go to off Broadway. See some go to La Mama, places like that.
Well, there's always talk about a New York City road trip on BookTube that a couple of the East Coast people say, we'd really like to spend a weekend in New York City.
MJ and
that would be.
Yeah.
I would be really up for that.
Yeah, you could do that, right? Really expensive for me. But.
It's funny, people around here talk about these damn Yankees or whatever, and they're not like us. And people in New York are really rude or whatever. But I've been to Manhattan multiple times, and they love me there. And I get along great with everybody in Manhattan. You do have to adjust to a certain different tempo of speaking. They talk a little faster than we do.
Well, that's like Ireland, No, go ahead.
But yeah, I think Manhattan's wonderful. I'd love to go again.
Yeah, well, as I said, one of these days there's going to be a BookTube road trip to New York City. I've been there before, and it was about 20 years ago. And the big bookstore back then was the Strand. I don't know if that's considered still the premier bookstore of New York City, or some other bookstore has taken its place. We have a guest in the comments who can probably clarify what the big bookstore is out there now.
Oh, Hannah would know, yeah.
No, Hannah. She also, I'm the one right there. She's also lived in Queens.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Hi, Hannah.
And she says, Dex made my spouse very hungry. And we got confirmation. Strand is still well loved.
Is there a bookstore called Gotham in New York City?
There's not. There should be.
Yeah.
Elaine is here too.
That has an ongoing Finnegan's Wake group. It's been going on for like 15 years.
I read about that.
Yeah, some bookstore in New York City. So Elaine, hey, and we got Courtney, Tangible.
We got Courtney right down below. Hey, Courtney. She'd probably be up for a New York. Courtney lives right next to New York City, I think, in New Jersey.
Yeah, Jersey. Yeah. So maybe put out that thread again, Greg, or the link.
The link? All right. Yeah. I can put out the link again if anyone cares to join.
Yeah, this is exciting. Like in my head, it was taking people on like one at a time, like for 10 minutes. We've done that before.
We can take up a number of people. until I hit my my limit on my StreamYard.
Yeah, if we can get a group, it'd be really cool.
Well, I'll hang around as long as you will let me. But my roommate is potentially bringing me home dinner. I'm hoping for steak, but I'll settle for a hamburger.
That sounds
But
good.
once she gets here with dinner, I gotta go.
That's fine. That's fine. So Hannah says she hasn't been in Strand for ages, but I'd love to go back. I remember when I was there 20 years ago, they had a basement that was just like filled with review copies of books. Like they had like 20 copies of like the new, or they're no longer new releases, but dirt cheap.
Oh.
And Gotham Book Mart, I think it closed 2007 or 2008.
Oh, okay. So I was right. Thanks. Thanks for that.
What about New Jersey? I don't know. Courtney, is there anything to visit in New Jersey?
Yeah, The Sopranos, where they filmed The Sopranos.
Maybe so. All right, gentlemen. Until someone else joins, what have you been reading that you would like to talk about? Randy, you go first.
I'll tell you what, I'm in the middle of a reread of a book called Desert Solitaire by Edward Abbey.
Okay.
It's a spring into adventure pick. And I know we're buddy reading Roughing It by Mark Twain is the true story adventure pick. But Desert Solitaire is also a true life adventure. It's really, really similar to Walden by Thoreau, but it's set in the desert. And Edward Abbey is a little more coarse than Henry David Thoreau, but he's a brilliant writer. And he wrote 7 or 8 novels.
I've read I think Desert Solitaire is the one that I read by him.
It's his most famous book that's nonfiction. His most famous book that's fiction is The Monkey Wrench Guy.
I have that on my shelf.
Yeah, that's a fun book. And I've got a book by one of his friends, Douglas Peacock. It's called Was It Worth It? And I haven't read it yet, but I think when I finish Desert Solitaire, I may tap into that too. But anyway, I'm really loving reading Desert Solitaire now, as opposed to reading it at the age of 21 or 22, because I'm catching all the literary references in it that I missed before. There's a chapter where they have to go, he and some of the other park rangers in the desert park where he works have to go find a dead man. And he's talking about how they were able to just deal with the dead man without any kind of grief because they didn't know him. And so he says at one point, we know thee not, old man, which is, out of Henry IV, Part 1 and 2, about Falstaff. And I was like, oh, I know where that's from. I got so excited because Falstaff has become my favorite literary character.
He's a good one.
Yeah.
I saw a production of Henry IV, Part 1 and 2, where
nice.
Their casting of Falstaff was brilliant, but very unusual. Do you know the actress Pat Carroll?
I don't.
Well, she was a heavyset woman in her early 50s at the time, and they cast her as Falstaff.
Oh, nice.
So I mean, she didn't play it as a woman; she played it as if she were a man. But she did a very good job.
Wow, cool. That'd be nice to see. That I would have liked to see that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, hey, Gareth. What's up,
Hey,
Gareth?
Hello. Thanks for allowing me. Hi, Randy. How you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm good. I was tempted to come on, and then Randy comes on. I'm like, oh yeah, a chance to speak to him live. So there we go. And I've really got my ring light working again, which is nice. I just turn it off and on again, I suppose. Anyway, yes. Hello.
All right.
Yeah, we're going to bring out as many people as we can.
Are you done talking about the books you're currently reading?
Yeah. I mean, I could talk. Well, I'm also a few pages into Cotton Comes to Harlem, which I'm buddy reading with Mark at Book Time with Elvis. And then, of course, I already mentioned Roughing It by Mark Twain, which it's fantastic. It's so good.
Awful long.
I read Cotton Comes to Harlem a little while ago, and it's brilliant.
Was that your first Chester Himes novel?
Yeah, and then I went mad and bought I've got about 12 books by him now.
Well, the real cool
yeah.
killers is really good too.
Yeah, I've got that one. Yeah. So I'm gonna.
That was my
I'm gonna,
first Chester Himes.
I've read
Cool.
2 Chester Himes. I've read Cotton Comes to Harlem and A Rage in Harlem.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So
yeah.
I got to pick up some more.
Yeah, he's
Well, I
he's great.
picked up a couple of
The
new
violence is really over the top.
well, Cotton Comes to Harlem is really like odd. It's like kind of weirdly chaotic, but kind of contained as well at the same time.
And
It's good.
it's bizarrely humorous.
Yes.
Yeah.
It is. I mean, when I read A Rage to Harlem, it starts off with a guy who's being scammed. He comes in. They say, we have a method where if you cook $10 bills in an oven, they will turn into $100 bills.
Yeah.
So this guy borrows money from his employer, a funeral home, on the idea that he can return the money in the morning because all his $10 bills will be $100 bill. Of course,
Billy Gareth would write.
well, it's a total scam, and your reader just like, how could you be so stupid? You're laughing, but
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
but then he has a cross-dressing nun, or a man who's cross-dressing as a nun.
Nuns are funny anyway.
I found it incredibly funny, and I have to get more of his books. All right, Gareth, what have you been reading?
Well, I've just finished Holly, so
Yay!
yeah, and I voraciously read that. So I was a little bit. I read it. I started reading it 5 days ago, and was aware that it might creep into Horror Mayhem. But I thought, well, I'll just do what I can because I know I wanted to sort of bang out the short stories for Horror Mayhem. So I started it, but I just literally couldn't stop reading it. Every single time I had a free moment, I'd read some more, and it's just so good, so good.
Excellent. It's on my Kindle. I have to finish reading my book 2 prize book, and then I can pick up Holly.
He's written more characterization and kind of holliness as he's gone along, and this is full of holliness. He's like,
I mean, I've really become fond of that character.
yeah. She's absolutely shines in this book, and you find out a lot more about her past, and a lot more about just little things that she does, and it's really interesting because it's all set during the COVID pandemic as well. So
Okay.
that makes it quite different, and it could make it dated, but I don't know. It might make it a little testament to some of the things that we had to deal with when we were in lockdown and stuff. Because there are actually some plot points. There's some things that changed the plot because of COVID, which is kind of interesting.
All right.
There's some wicked, evil, thick shit in it too, character-wise and situation-wise.
Well, don't tell me too much because I haven't started it yet, and I wanna just dig in and absorb it.
You won't believe it when. No, I mean.
All right.
So, yeah, Holly.
Have you started it, Alan?
Yes,
All right.
because I like. Yeah, because I'm reading a few books, but most of my books are on. You'll be glad to know. Are on like ebook, I guess. So I'm also reading the Elementals by Michael McDowell, and that's a weird, everyone calls it Southern Gothic, and so I will too. It is, but because it has characters just just crossing. They got one foot in creepy land. Like a father will say something to his daughter that's just borderline creepy, like maybe asking about her period or something. It's like, what? That's kind of, but it goes along with the creepiness of the novel. And if you guys read it,
I have read other books by Malcolm McDowell,
yeah,
and
in it. So check out the haunted house, and then there's some cannibalism in it. It's early on, so check off that box.
Yeah, well, the main one I've read too. I've read his Blackwater Saga, which is 5 short novels or novellas about living in the deep South, and it starts right before World War One.
Oh,
And I think it goes up through World War II, somewhere around there. So you get a whole family growing up, and the only difference is it is horror because it starts off as a huge flood in this small town down south, and the main character rescues this woman trapped in a hotel on the second floor. The only problem is that she's not really human. And you know that pretty much from going in. That
wouldn't be a problem for me.
She's a swamp monster.
Oh,
you get what you can, right, Al?
If it was an alien, it'd be no problem. But swamp monster, I don't know. That's Greg's territory with Lovecraft and stuff. No.
You know, I think I'll stay away from dating swamp monsters, even if I were single. You know, not that desperate.
If you're desperate, though.
Yeah, what are the hours? I'm not interested.
I've heard the dating scene's really hard. I've got a friend of mine who's actually about to have that issue after a 14-year relationship, and he's like, "I'm terrified." And yeah, I can imagine after a long gap, you might be up for a demon, maybe up for an alien.
I can't afford to date, but when I could, I would date on the apps, and it's pretty easy if you're in a big town to meet people, at least to meet up with them and that. I always meet at Powell's. They got a cafe there, you know, or used to meet in bars, of course. But yeah, it's pretty easy, at least to make that initial meet.
Yeah. So let me get through some of these. Courtney just got back from work, so getting some stuff together.
Well, Courtney's always working.
New York sucks. Don't go. And New Jersey sucks. Don't go. You know, when I was single, not dating, I was visiting a friend who lived up in just New York, just over the border from New Jersey, and my car broke down. Now, Courtney, I think it was right next to Orange Avenue on the New Jersey, not the New Jersey Turnpike, the New Jersey Thruway or something like that. And I was told by the guy who picked me up in the because the police officer called a tow truck, and the guy in the tow truck said, "You didn't try to walk around that neighborhood, did you?" I said, "No."
Oh.
Well, you probably would have been stabbed.
Oh shit!
And that was back early 90s.
I can't hear the phrase New Jersey Turnpike without thinking about being John Malkovich.
Well. The thing is, if you live in New Jersey, you can ask them what exit. And that tells you where they live, because the New Jersey Turnpike, everyone lives off an exit.
Oh.
Well, that's also the exit from John Malkovich's head as well.
Okay.
Oh. I like that movie. I remember it vaguely.
I love that movie so much. I love it.
Bizarre.
It's very good.
It's amazing, isn't it, Randy?
I just finished rewatching Adaptation not long ago, and it was really great.
Oh, wow. Nice.
Yeah.
So, William, I have recently finished reading Invasion by Eric L. Harry. Video review coming up later this week. And Hannah says, lovely to see the four of you together. Thank you, Hannah.
Thank you, Hannah.
Sorry, my AI went rogue. I had to restart my computer. I was just thinking of Holly.
Oh.
Alan is ready. Alan, I need to read Finders Keepers first. So
oh yeah,
a bit before I get to Holly. Now, Gareth, do you need to have read Outsider and Finders Keepers? Not Finder, If It Bleeds, to read Holly?
I think it's similar to Outsider in the sense that you don't need to, because if he does make a reference, and he does it a lot, he keeps talking about Bill Hodges and he keeps talking about the things they experienced in previous books, but he will mention them, and and if you didn't know the books, you've just had it explained in that sentence anyway. So I don't think it's necessary, really. But obviously, for someone who has read the books, you know what she's been through, and you know what Barbara's been through, because what Barbara goes through in the last book has a big effect in this book.
Okay.
Yeah.
Guys, I have to jet.
All right, Randy. Well, thanks for dropping in.
Thanks for having me on for a little while. I'll talk to y'all soon.
All right. All right. And for anyone new to the live stream, this is an open mic night. So I just posted the link down below. You can join us and talk about whatever we're talking about.
Yeah.
So anything else besides Holly? Or is that just your big thing, Garrett, Holly?
I'm just about to. I have filmed my monthly wrap up today, and it's going up soon. And I do mention some of the other things I've recently read, and it does include. I started reading the second book of the Fafhrd and Grey Mouser books.
Okay.
So I realised I kind of got halfway through, and then felt like the need to pick up Holly, and I thought, well, hold on a minute, these are short stories. I don't have to finish the book yet. So I put it down. So I've read half of Swords Against Death, which is the second one. So I'm rereading all of them because they were some of my favourite fantasy books when I was younger, and I wanted to read them again. So I read Swords Against Deviltry last year, this one's even better. So yeah, I am really enjoying it. But I've put it aside for a bit for Horror Mayhem, and ultimately June's going to be all cowboys and science fiction. So don't know when I'll finish it.
All right. I just read one of the Fafhrd and Grey Mouser series last month. It was in the Big Book of Adventure Fiction. It was 9 Black Priests was the story. I don't know if I think that's in the second book, but I'm not positive.
9 Black Priests.
They're traveling over a wasteland, and these Black Priests are trying to kill them.
Wow.
One by one.
Yeah. Cool.
It was. I mean, the thing is, I like that kind of fantasy story that isn't a 900-page epic that you have to go through.
Yeah. Well, and he's so influential. I mean, you can really see the elements of D&D and that kind of thing, and the Thieves Guild stuff in the Fafhrd and Grey Mouser stuff. And I find that fascinating because I love D&D anyway. So
I used to play D&D when I was in high school. I remember those days.
Yeah. I've got this Tuesday night. We've changed it to Tuesdays. I can't get used to that. Tuesday night group, and we were doing D&D, but we're doing something else now. So we're going to do, what's it called? Blades in the Dark, I think, something like that. And it's like a film noir crime kind of role-playing game. And I'm actually going to play a femme fatale woman in it. So that'll be fun. So I'm basically be really flirty and like just try and get people to do what I want them to do by seducing them.
Yeah, okay, that's one way to do it. I would be like the Sam Spade Bogart character.
There was a game that I had. I forgot the title, but it was a 30s based role playing game. They're supposed to be like like the pulp 30s adventures, like Doc Savage and stuff like that. And we did that. I did that for a while. It was kind of fun. Okay, Alan, you're up. What have you been reading?
Well, Holly, like we mentioned, I've been listening to it and getting creeped out. And then I've also on my Kindle have that McDowell book. And that's about it. I've got some poetry I'd like to get into, which I haven't yet, by that German poet that
Yeah, who showed that? I think it was Aaron Facer that
Yeah,
showed
Aaron Facer, Godfrey Ben, selected poems and some prose. I don't know if I think he's still alive. No, he's not alive. What am I saying? These are from like the early 1900s, I think.
Oh, all right.
But yeah, I'd like to read some of his translated prose, some funny titles. But I've been doing mostly artwork and guitar. Reading.
That's all good.
Yeah, but I'm like you, Gareth. I stay up a lot. Brian's in the house.
He is. I'm gonna say before I tell you what I've been reading, I'm gonna go through the comments. William, looking forward to the Holly discussion at the end of the month.
Cool.
Elaine, Michael McDowell. She likes Michael McDowell. There's another comment coming from her. Elements is incredible. What a gem.
Elementals. Yeah, I'm enjoying it.
I haven't read Elemental. Cold Moon Over Babylon. I have read Cold Moon Over Babylon. That's kind of a creepy book.
Ah.
And The Amulet. I have not read The Amulet. There's Brian. Hello, Brian.
Rage Biscuit.
And there's the link if people want to join.
Yeah, all they have to do is click on it, right?
All you have to do is tap on that link and I invite you in. Okay.
Yeah, a caveman could do it.
Yep.
So go on, Greg. Sorry.
I've been reading my sixth book for the Book 2 prize. I can say it's North Woods by Mason. I can't tell you about it, just not to influence. But I've also been reading for Sagalong and Historathon. I'm reading the Saga of the Volshlungs. I just finished it. It's like a 76-page saga. And I've also been reading Children of Ash and Elm, which is a history of the Vikings from like 700 AD to like 1000 AD, whatever. My thing about that is that when I was really young, like in high school, I really thought the Vikings were totally cool. Wouldn't it be neat to have this great warrior culture? And now I'm old, I'm going, dang, I hate that warrior culture. I don't like it really hit me when I was reading Beowulf last year, where Beowulf becomes the leader by being the best warrior. And I'm going, that's no way to run a country by being the best warrior. We have someone else who's going to be joining us.
Great.
And let's add him in because as soon as I finished my book, I said
I was going to talk about the Middle Ages, but
and I'm also finishing. I'm doing Les Miserables. I'm about 1,000 pages into it now. And that's kind of cool. All right, so let me add our next guest.
I love that.
And we have Fred from
Hey!
Hello.
Amazing.
You guys make it so tempting.
Easy.
get your feet wet, huh?
No, he was here once before. So
He was?
Once, yeah.
yes.
Man, I can't even remember we do so many shows anymore. And like, I've got
Yeah, Alf is referring to the fact that Fred's at the beach. Look.
what? I was going to go over the schedule. We're like booked up until mid-June right now, and then with ideas of people off to the side. But thanks for showing up.
Yeah, Fred. How's it going?
It's going well, thank you. Oh boy. Hey Gareth, how you doing?
I'm good, mate. Awesome to do a live with you. What time is it with you?
It is 8:30 Eastern Standard Time.
Yeah.
In the evening.
Same with Greg.
Same with me.
Cool.
All right. So Fred, what have you been reading so you can fill us in?
So I finished Lost City of the Monkey God by what's his face there? The guy that wrote,
Preston?
pardon me?
Is it Douglas Preston?
That's right. And right now I'm going through the Aztec and Maya and illustrated history. So this puppy over here,
Ooh.
which is very good. Talked about cannibalism, talked about human sacrifice, which Yeah, glad I didn't live in that culture at that time.
Yeah.
That seems to be a underlying theme tonight. But go on. Fred. Yeah.
And,
What we've been reading.
and then I've got my horror book set up for Horror Mayhem. I'm only
Oh.
reading one for the month of May, and that's Haunted House from Hell by Lestrange, Mark Lestrange.
Okay. I don't know that one, but that's cool.
Yeah.
It was 99 cents on the Kobo web store a couple months back, just after Garbogust, and I picked it up, planning to read it for Garbogust, but I figured I'd read it for Horror Mayhem.
Yep. Well, you know, Fred, when you're talking about the Aztecs sacrificing people, I went down to Chichen Itza in Mexico a few years ago.
Okay.
It's oh my God! It's just the pyramids are amazing just to look at. But we had a guided tour, and outside of the Chichen Itza, they had these cenotes, and they were the guide was talking about how they sacrifice babies. They would just throw them into the cenotes, and there's this one woman who got. I mean, she was really upset. She said, "Women do not sacrifice their children," and she was just like totally adamant. And the guide was just kind of sitting there nodding. I mean, what are you going to say? I mean,
yeah,
that's what they did.
Yeah.
So from what I've read, the Maya had a collective punishment ritual where they would select an elderly person in their community who would listen to all of the sins that have been committed by the people within the community. And after she's heard all of the sins, they would stone her to death. It was usually an old woman who was the victim.
Hmm.
Can you believe that? I couldn't believe that when I read it. It hurt when I read that.
It does. I mean, the fact that, I guess the idea is that she's absorbing all their sins and they're getting rid of the sins and everyone's
right.
It's horrible. It's just.
It is. And from my perspective in this time, I find it horrible, but you look at it in the context in which it was done, their mentality, how they were very spiritual, how they were very focused on the paranormal, the supernatural. And, it makes sense in that time. But, oh, my God, I couldn't believe what I was reading.
All right. Okay. It is amazing. We have one other person who's going to be joining us in just a second. I'm going to add her in.
What a party.
It's going to be a huge party.
Oh, shit.
I like it.
Someone that Al doesn't like, clearly.
No, I dropped the.
All right. So anything else before we add the next person, Fred?
No, go ahead, add her.
Okay. We have Elaine from Cobalt Dragon. Hello. Welcome to the Monday Live show.
Big surprise.
Awesome.
This is so exciting.
I'm pleasantly surprised tonight.
Yes, it is. Welcome. So how are things going with you tonight?
Things are good. I'm sorry I missed it.
That's all right. So, since we're going through what everyone's reading, what have you been reading that's could be of interest to everyone?
Well, I cheated, and I had in my last video Skinwalkers at the Pentagon. There's a leg, so this is funny, but
it's all right.
I cheated and I read this. It's part 2 of Hunt for the Skinwalkers.
Okay.
What is a skinwalker?
I don't know this people at all, I think.
Stuff does. Nobody.
It's the ranch in Utah. It's UFOs, big wolves, Navajo history.
Yeah, I would like that.
The Pentagon, conspiracy. You name it, it's in here.
Oh, wow.
So they're quite big books.
They're not too bad, actually. They're about maybe 300 pages ish.
Okay.
Yeah, 294 and 200 and about 30 pages.
Oh, easy reading.
Easy peasy, especially if you're like me and stay up till 1 a.m. because you gotta know what's happening.
No, so you're the kind that has to know what's happening, or are you the kind that just can't sleep at night?
I
bit
just
of both.
read The Golden Compass in a day.
Oh.
I started it in the afternoon and I finished it at 1:30 a.m.
Wow.
That's cool.
Awesome. Philip Pullman, right?
And now I'm getting yes, Pullman, the Dark Trilogies, and I'm all excited for Horror Mayhem. So I'm on to Canadian Ghost Stories, Book 1.
Nice.
And tomorrow I'll be uploading my 16 books for under $50 at the thrift store. Woohoo! And one of them is a ghost book as well. So I'm all set for Horror Mayhem.
Nice.
Stuff.
Ghost books.
And that's kind of, I'm all over the place. I have a TBR, but it's kind of a joke because it's 100 some odd books and keeps going. So
Yeah,
I know
TBR
what
is
am I
a bit
feeling?
so who count at that point? Who counts? You know, but it's
Yeah,
like this
I think-
weekend. I'll go ahead, Fred.
I'm sorry. Did I say something?
I thought you were going to say something.
Now, I was going to say, like, doing a TBR video or looking at TBR, it's just a nice excuse to talk about books, isn't it? It's like you don't really necessarily, you don't end up reading the ones that you expect to read, but, you know, it's good to kind of plan to read them, even if you don't get to them. You know, TBR is just a fun way of talking about it, isn't it?
Well, like I said, I was celebrating Independent Bookstore on Saturday. And in the same town with the Independent Bookstore, they had like a library sale. And you walk in, you buy a book for 50 cents. And at 50 cents, he said, I don't care if I never read it.
Library sale.
Right? What do I got here? Here's a book that I've always wanted to read. Mutiny on the Bounty.
Oh, wow.
That's an excellent book.
Yeah, I've seen the movie.
Yeah, and it's like
One is.
what's even more interesting is that this was printed in 1967, almost as old as I am.
Yeah.
And it's never been read.
Oh.
Really?
Oh, wow. So it's like new kind of condition.
Well, it is. I mean, you look at the spine; it's flat. I mean, it's got a little bit of chafing on the sides, but you know, it's getting on to 56 years old. So.
Little chafing.
56 years old and never read. I don't know.
But no,
Yeah.
but it's fun.
That,
I mean,
that reminds me. Go on, Greg.
and I got like Their Eyes Are Watching God. This is a banned book.
Oh.
Since I'm doing banned books, I want to read it. And I remember the reason it was banned is someone just did not like her ideas.
Oh. God.
So I said, I really have to pick that up and see what could she have thought of that was so bad back in, when was this published? I can't quite remember when this was originally published. 1937.
1937.
So someone got upset by this woman's ideas in 1937 that they put on a banned book list.
From her ideas. Wow.
So I recently read Carmilla from 1872.
Oh,
And
that's the
I-
premiere.
I could not believe the relationship between Carmilla and the female protagonist. It was quite scandalous as I was reading it. And I'm reading this going, really? 1872? Oh my God. It was very forward. Let's just say that.
I've only seen the movie of that.
There
Okay.
was a movie,
I think so. Carmilla?
Carmilla. Yeah.
Carmilla. Yeah, well, you know, back then, you weren't supposed to talk about those sort of relationships, you know.
it was pretty
Yeah.
evident in that novella what was going on. And I'm like reading this going, oh my God, in 1872?
That's awesome.
It is awesome.
I'm pretty sure there's some old folk songs that have that kind of relationship in them.
Well, Alexander Dumas in The Count of Monte Cristo, there was two women who may or may not have been in a relationship. I guess Elizabeth Boken's book says in the original French, it's still a little ambiguous. I think people who don't read the French get all incensed because they hear about translators just cutting out those scenes. Like I guess more famous was in the Three Musketeers, where you had D'Artagnan and Milady, and they were flirting really hard. And I guess some of the translators said, well, we can't really have them flirting like that.
Yeah, there is a movie of this in black and white. I've seen it. We're talking about the same thing. Yeah, it's a like vampire-ish kind of.
Yeah.
Right.
Are you gonna do a video about Camilla on your channel, Fred?
I already did a review on Carmilla, but Greg, if you're gonna do one of those Halloween movie nights again, like you did a couple years back, Carmilla would probably be a good one to watch.
Really, that Frankenstein was my first live show that I ever did.
I enjoyed that one. It was fun commenting and seeing everybody else's comments as we were all watching the movie. That was fun.
Have you watched the original movie?
From 1931? Yep.
Okay.
So it was really good until the end where they burned down the windmill, and it was just kind of anticlimactic.
So wait a second. They burnt down the windmill in Frankenstein. Are you talking Carmilla?
No, Frankenstein. Sorry.
Yeah.
I didn't see the movie. I didn't see the Carmilla movie.
Okay, that's what I was asking. If we were to do something like that on Halloween, pick one of those old horror movies that you could read the book and then watch the movie version.
That would be awesome.
That's a great idea.
Wait, is it going to be like a PG rated, family oriented for YouTube? Because Carmilla was not family oriented.
Well, I presume the old movie would be tamer.
Yeah.
Surely.
Yeah, if it's that old, it will definitely be fine for YouTube, wouldn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
I do enjoy when we do buddy reads on Discord and you can see everybody's comments. I remember reading, what was that by Richard Matheson? Some haunted house one?
Oh, Hell House.
Hell House.
I had the best time posting comments and reading other people's comments as we were reading that novel. That was just fun.
Yeah, I think MJ did that, or MJ or Ali.
I think it was Criminale, yeah.
Yeah, Criminale used to have everyone's favorite book from their birth year.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I'm pretty sure it was the birth year book club that did that.
Birth year, huh?
Yeah, I'm on that for a wee bit. I'll be on it more. Discord. I'll be on it more since we're doing Ulysses on Discord. But anyway, what's in the comments?
I'm not on Discord enough. I need to get on it more. But,
I haven't. I have problems commenting sometimes on either on Voxer or Discord. It's just I like reading other people's comments. I don't like leading people and helping them, convince them to write more comments and talk about things.
Yeah, we're in some Voxer groups that, well, one's finally slowly popping up with the Vonnegut group. We got a comment today on it.
We did.
After about a week of silence.
Yeah.
Is anybody out there reading it? Hello? But
saying hi. Oh, Bad is here. Hello, Bad.
Hey,
It's,
Matt.
it's only taken me, like 20 minutes to say hi to you. Sorry.
I've got a question for everyone.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I've just done a video that was bouncing off a video I saw. That I think the original video that I was watching was about 10 days old or something. And I thought, oh, I'll do a version of this. And it was, what 10 books would you save in a fire?
Oh, yeah.
So I've seen a few, but there are other booktubers that done it as well, but I haven't seen their ones. Just saw this one guy, Cafe de Livre, I think the channel was called. And it was quite an interesting thing to think about. I did repeat myself a little bit. There's so many references to Jim Henson and Charles Adams in my video, but never mind. But I thought it'd be interesting to ask you guys, what's the first thing you think of a book that you would save in a fire? The first thing you'd try and get hold of to make sure it didn't burn?
Well, I did a video, an original tag when I was in Georgia, and it got over a few hundred views. So that's successful for me, called the Shot Down in Flames tag, where like, what books would you take on an airplane? Because I was moving from Portland to Oregon. So I always like a copy of my Ulysses and Finnegan's Wake. And then I've got an annotated up Commedia, the Divine Comedy, Dante, I would take. And then probably Son and the Fury. They're all annotated up, but how many? 10 is a lot of books. I'm thinking of Airplane, but.
Yeah, well, let's ask our other guests. Elaine, do you have books that you would absolutely save?
Oh, this is like that tidy up lady who says you can only have 30 books. And I'm like, are you on crack? Like, how could I only have 30 books? But okay, that aside, 10 books. Okay, first Dracula. There's no way I'm going anywhere without Drac. I've had my copy for over 40 years, so that sucker's coming with me. Oh, golly. What else? I'd have to take one of my Sitchin Earth Chronicle books because Zachariah's been around with me for a while, too. You know those, Fred?
I've got the set.
I just finally read them. He's waited so patiently for 20 years collecting
now,
them.
who's this author
I finally
again?
finished all 6 of them. Yeah, Sitchin. So I'd have to pick one. It might be the one that has to do with the Aztecs, because I couldn't take all 6, right? I've got to come up with, 8 more books to save? It would have... No, I wouldn't take Hancock. He's too cocky. Something by Robert Bauval, so Orion Mystery, I think. One of my ghost story collections, probably John Robert Colombo. And I don't know. I would have to... I'd be pooched in a fire. It'd be whatever 10 after Dracula, and I'd run it. And then I'd have to get my cats too. So, I'd have a handful going out the door.
The cats come for I guess this is like after your pets are out. Your wife.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah. I might be a little more clear-headed, but those would kind of be my first 3 off the top would be Dracula, a Sitchin book, and one of my ghost story anthologies. Fred?
I did say on my video I had to get my musical instruments first.
Yeah. See?
Yeah.
So for me, this is kind of a trick question. So the first thing I would grab is my wedding photo album because, that's important.
Aww.
Yeah.
And then, I can always buy new books. So I would grab the books where I can't buy them. They're no longer in print.
Yep.
That's what I did.
And this is where the nerd comes out. It would be my Doctor Who books. So Peter Davidson, the 70s, the 60s. So I have books that talk about the production of Doctor Who in the 60s, production of Doctor Who in the 70s, production of Doctor Who in the 80s. So I would grab those 3 books. I would leave the Stitchin books here. Sorry.
You can buy those again.
Good, yeah. And probably my mythology book, because that's no longer in print either. And I've got some fond memories reading that during my Christmases.
I remember, Fred, you had a folio edition of something in one of your earlier videos.
I've got the Empires of the Ancient Near East.
I think
should
that's
pick
what I
those up
saw.
too. Those are pretty expensive.
What about you, Alan?
I already went. I went first.
Oh, you doing for okay? So it's me.
You
So
did, yep.
I'm like you with the Fred there. I have a couple of books that are extremely rare. I'll show it to you right here. It's now whether you count this one book or more is open to debate.
Ooh.
This is a box set of William T. Volman. It's his essay.
Yeah.
He calls it an essay about the justification and the use of violence in modern society and history.
Okay.
He calls that entire box set an essay.
He calls it an essay.
So like Leo Tolstoy,
I
doesn't
won't
it?
want to mark it as a teacher.
I bought it for $120. It's 7 volumes.
Oh wow!
Wow.
It's selling because they're all signed. If I were to sell it
Got it.
for the price listed on the internet, around $3,000.
Wow.
Holy jumping.
Wow,
That's
Fred,
amazing.
And the thing is, would someone actually buy it for $3,000?
Oh, yeah.
So I don't think so. I did when I saw the author signing and reading. Someone had bought a box set for $600 or $500, something like that. So that's really what people are paying for. They're not paying $3,000, but I would get that because it's never been reprinted. It's $3,000, and it's a hard. I've only read the first volume. It's a hard read,
Mm.
but it's valuable. It'll probably never be reprinted. So
And it's signed by Volman, huh?
yeah,
Wow, excellent.
I also
Yeah,
have
Go on.
a first edition Stephen King of The Dark Tower.
Oh, nice. Well, the
Now-
whole thing.
Yeah, no, this is just the first volume. This is when the only book that was published was the first volume of The Dark Tower. And I bought it for $20. I was in California visiting, on vacation, whatever. And it said that there was a super limited edition of 1,000, which was signed. I didn't get the signed one. And then there was a more limited edition of 10,000 copies. And
Hmm.
Stephen says, I'm never reprinting this book again. First 10,000, that's it. Well, he did sort of reprint them.
He lied.
He lied. But again, if you look on the internet, it sells for about $2,500. Now the thing is, I've actually seen an eBay copy that sold for $2,300. So that's something where someone actually paid the money for it.
Uh-huh.
Wow.
So I guess
That's
those would be the two that I would pick. Or that'd be 7, 8 book. Those are the ones to grab because they're worth something.
Mhm.
And the rest of the
Yeah.
stuff is like, anything here, you just buy it again. Not worth.
Yeah,
not-
that was
not
my approach to
really
it.
required.
What could you not get again?
Yeah, but you have no sentimental favorites, or how about your edition of Confederacy of Dunces?
No, it's just a paperback. I can grab it in the old bookstore.
That's
See, and
interesting.
I'm laughing because, and part of my video, and Greg, you were mentioning this in one of your videos, books we've repurchased.
Yeah.
I can now do a video with about 10 to 15 books that I thought I was done with. I unhauled, and I've bought a number of them back in the last year. Thank you, thrift store. But still, I'm like, that's it. I'm not unhauling books anymore.
Well, the thing is,
true.
if you have the space to keep them. Now, the thing is,
Lots
there's
of
a lot.
space.
Now, the thing is, there are some people on BookTube who are younger. They're in a smaller home. They have families, and they go, if I want a new book, I have to get rid of some. You know, that's the realistic issue with a lot of people, that you have to make those decisions. Now, the problem is, when I did my unhauling, I unhauled the wrong books. I mean, because I'm gonna point out that someone down here, some of my Graham Masterton from the 90s, for me, I unhauled all my Graham Masterton paperbacks. I used to have like 20 of them. He's a good horror. And I said, look, I'll just buy them again. Because back in those days, with the horror section, there was tons of these Graham Masterton paperbacks.
Yeah.
And you just, I'll grab it. No big deal. And now they're all gone. They're all in someone's collection.
Oh.
And they're really expensive to buy now, aren't they?
They are really expensive. And I bought them for like $2 a shot, sold them for probably 10 cents a shot. And now if I would buy them, it'd be like 20, 25 bucks a shot.
Oh.
Yeah.
You never know. Investment wise, you need, a lot of things are like that, huh?
Yeah.
Well, and years ago, because I moved away from reading fiction, and we had 2 bookcases of fiction, and my husband now reads on an ebook, like the Kobo reader thing. I'm still old school. I've tried audio, I've tried ebook. I'm sorry, I can't do it. I wander too much for audio, and I'm like, what did I just listen to? It's gone. I'm like everywhere else. But yes, and I'm sorry, and this will mortify some of you, but I got rid of my Stephen King collection. I had about 15 books, hard covers, because, I was buying them as they came out. I started reading them when Carrie came out, right up to Dolores Claiborne. And now I am kicking myself in the katukas because, well, one, I never expected to be on YouTube or on a camera. I'm like, I hate being in front of a camera. And now I'm like, crap, I'm reading King again. I had all those.
I know, it's horrible. It's just, you can't, that's the problem. You cannot predict what you're going to
I tell you what, though, I don't know if it's true over where you guys are, but over here, because he's so successful and so many millions of copies were sold, you can get his stuff quite cheap in secondhand bookshops.
Yes.
So, over the space of 6 months, you could probably get 20, 30 books by him just by randomly finding them just for a few quid.
Wow.
True. And that's how, because even Kuntz, I had a number of Kuntz, like I say, the whole fiction, Eddings, Kuntz, King, the whole Jalupa, Kelly Armstrong, and I'm like, and now I'm starting to read some fiction again, and I had 2 bookcases. but they went to the thrift store, so it was all good. It worked
I have
out.
kept, when I did the huge unhauled last summer, I was going to try and do another one, but when I did the last, I was thinking, do I need this for the channel? It's like, you're not just, do I want this, but actually, am I gonna pick this up and wave it about in a video, which is just weird, isn't it? It's like, well, just put up a picture, isn't it?
That's crazy. Sorry, go ahead, Alan.
Oh no, I said that's good thinking.
Well, the thing about Stephen King is you can usually get his books from the library, and you can usually get the audiobook or the Kindle version from the library. Now, I know, Elaine, you said you don't like audiobooks.
I get too distracted. I can't follow the story.
Yeah.
Well, I got started because I had an hour-and-a-half commute each way to go into work back in the 90s. And, it's just, they had them at the library. You just plug them in and you drive. Yep. And the thing is, it's a skill that you pick up. It's like learning to read. You don't pick up a book and learn how to read.
True.
But when you're stuck in that environment, I had my hour and a half. I needed to fill those 3 hours a day with something.
Yeah.
And what I did is I started with books that I'd already read before. So I knew what was going on. My first audiobook was 1984, which I had read. So listening to say, okay, I know it's coming up. I know it's coming up. And then after a while, oh, now I can just start a new book that I've never read before.
Because you got used to it. Yeah.
And like you said, it's interesting when you're driving is because you can drive and listen at the same time if you are going on a familiar road that you drive every day.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Because your brain is on automatic pilot. And I remember when I'm driving, sometimes they have like a detour road closed sign. All of a sudden, you said, wait a second, my audiobook's playing, and I have not heard 5 minutes of it because your brain is totally focused on that detour and avoiding all that horrible traffic that happens in detours. And when that happens, you just turn it off. And you get back to your going, you rewind and start it up again.
Cool.
Fred, were you going to say something earlier?
I was just a comment that Elaine had mentioned about joining BookTube. It was hard, wasn't it, to actually put your face out there?
It was.
My gosh, for me, I was debating whether or not to do it. I was debating whether or not to come on tonight. But when I first joined BookTube, it was because of the community. It was watching people's BookTube videos and wanting to take part, and then finally taking the plunge. So for all those booktubers out there, the new ones or the ones that are watching right now that don't have a BookTube channel,
just start it.
Just start it. Take that plunge. I mean, it is so worth it to be able to do this, to be able to take part in these live streams, or just take part in the events that are happening, be able to talk about it on camera. But yeah, it was hard at first. Oh,
do you remember getting invited to your first buddy read or group read? You say, how do I get invited to these things?
Yeah.
Dave and Olive just invited me. We did The Handmaid's Tale. It was so cool.
It was cool. That's a good book. That's a good book to do as a book group too. Or
it was. We did it with Vin from Revenant Reads.
Okay.
And I used to be an educational assistant. I was in schools for 23 years. And it cracks me up because, one, English is my second language, not my first. But I was teaching all these English Canadian-born kids how to learn their own language. I'm like, come on, you guys. But I was born in Canada. And so by the time I started kindergarten, I was speaking English.
So I presume French is your first language then?
My first language is Hungarian.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
And then but my dad made sure I knew the alphabet. And like I say, I was born here in Canada, but our family was all Hungarian. But so I was always, focused on the reading and the English. And where was I going? See, distracted. Boom. And Gareth, I loved your video with squirrel because I thought that was just the joke we did here in Canada for squirrel. And you're like, come on, right? But yeah, so it's amazing. And like you were saying, Greg, with the audio too, about it's a learned skill, right? Like you have to practice and all of that. But yeah, I don't know. The train went off the rails. I was going somewhere, got distracted by the second language. So, but actually one thing, Fred, I was going to say too, is if I'd known how to do editing better, and that was the joke, because it was actually one of my students who told me, just get on YouTube and start talking, like get in front of the camera. And, he was really encouraging me. And I'm like, I love taking pictures, which puts me behind the camera. And I'm like, I should have spent more time learning editing instead of audio literacy programs to teach you guys how to read, because then I wouldn't have to be in front of a camera. I could just, be behind and have figured these videos. But because I didn't have the editing, I had to make a choice. Either don't do YouTube or suck it up and be in front of the camera. And probably for the first 3 months, I deleted way more videos than I ever put up because I'm like, I can't say that. No, that looks. And even today, and I just celebrated 2 years on YouTube in April. but I still, once I do a video, I'll listen to it twice, all the way through
Oh, yeah.
before I upload it. Did I
Yeah.
use the right words? Did I make my point correctly? Oh no, the lighting's terrible. I mean, it's
I
Yeah,
can't
we
You're way
all-
more,
Yes,
you're
Jan
way
was.
more concerned than I am. A lot of the time. No, a
never
lot of
was.
the times when I first started, I would just be record it, upload it, you're done. Not
Well-
even because what's also curious is my wife just started her first YouTube channel.
oh
Oh, shit.
cool.
Oh wow.
Now I'm not announcing what it is yet because it has nothing to do with books. So,
Mhm.
but
Cool, right?
I will eventually mention it because I'm going to do a
Nice.
topic on hers. Hers is early retirement. That's what.
Hmm.
Oh, okay.
So, but she's good. Like my first videos suck, and I'm going, yes, they do. Get over it. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
There's
You know,
that.
just. I mean, her first. If you film on an iPhone, you know what I'm talking about. When I film on an iPhone, my phone is like this, right? She filmed her first video with her phone.
Yeah.
Oh.
So,
So she needs to go on Instagram then.
so it's like it's not, but it's okay. It's fine, you know. She corrected it in the second one, and I laugh at her. Said, you know, your channel can be more popular than mine at the end of the year.
Early retirement, yeah.
Yep, thanks.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I find, I don't know if you guys can relate to this, but I think that you just get more articulate as you go along. You feel like you don't worry so much about what you're saying, you just say it. Whereas when you first start, you're so worried about doing it properly, that you're not quite as good at doing it. And then I think because you worry less, it comes out better.
Well, honestly, Gareth, I think when I started and I knew I only had one shot to do my video in, I was actually a little clearer and made less mistakes.
Hmm.
Now that I have video editing software, I'm saying, okay, I can say something stupid and cut it out.
Right.
So
Ah,
it's actually I'm a little more prone to flubbing than I used to be, just because I said I can take it out.
yeah.
Fair enough. What about
I
you,
know-
Fred?
I've gotten more comfortable in front of the camera, so I don't make as many bloopers as I have before in the past. When
Your
I
bloopers are well
first
funny.
Yeah, when I first started, I had tons of bloopers, so I put them at the end of all my videos, and
Oh, cool.
that was
Right.
like the first year and a half, just bloopers after bloopers.
Yeah, I remember.
But
Yeah, Fred, your appearance has changed so much over the years. You know, you used to have long hair.
You used to have a beard too, as I remember, right?
Fred
Oh,
didn't grow
wow.
a beard like overnight. He's like my dad or something. But
I grow the beard for winter in Canada.
Oh,
yes.
you're Canadian as well.
I am
Cool. What province?
Ontario.
Me too.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
wow!
that's awesome.
Excellent.
But
Yeah, that is. Hey, now I don't feel like.
but
I love you. You're about to find out that you live around the corner from each other.
Wouldn't that be fun? What city are you in?
Well, I'm not saying on YouTube.
Okay,
Uh-huh.
you can do that some other time, but that's
Yeah.
hilarious.
But
And
yeah,
that's
Yeah,
funny.
Fred.
I totally got what you're saying. I would delete my video because I wasn't happy with it at the start, and even the ones that I was happy with, there were so many bloopers that I cut out, and I just decided, you know what, these are funny. I'm just going to put them at the end of all my videos.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I remember that.
I
Is that
don't
the long one
even
with this
see bloopers
topic
in a
one,
long
eh?
time. They just don't exist, or you just gotten better, or you just
I've
don't
gotten
include
better.
them.
No, I've gotten better, so I don't make as many bloopers. I don't make enough, so maybe one or two mistakes in a video, so it's not enough to put at the end in the blooper
Hmm.
reel.
Nice.
Fred, was there a Star Trek one where you put tons and tons of bloopers on? Was that right? Was that last year's Star Trek one?
That was last year's book trek, and half of them were bloopers, half of them I just wanted to say, set phasers to fun.
Jeez.
Oh, awesome.
Now, what
Oh.
a great line.
Oh, it was good. Oh,
Uh,
I deleted a video that was scheduled up from something like October or something, and I kept pushing it later and later because I wanted to put other videos on the channel instead. And then I watched it, and it was out of date because I'd waited so long to put it up, and I thought I could do a better job than this. And it's just annoying because I just put time into making it, and I just got rid of it. So that's a different issue. I think I'm a little bit unique with how much I schedule stuff up, but it was really annoying. I got to get rid of it.
Indeed. I never do that.
Yeah.
So you have to
That's
change
definitely-
your shirt, like do a different angle, Gareth, and it, like do them all in a
I'll
row
actually have a different shirt on now, I think. It was about 6 months ago.
and make it look like it's different days. And
When you batch film, yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, I don't bother when I batch film. I just wear the same shirt and say, if someone notices, that's their issue, you know.
Yeah.
See, I do the same because it depends, like, because I have some pain issues. So if I'm having a really good day, because I've got an idea of the different books or what I'm doing. So if it's a really good day, I've got my little laptop set up if that's what I'm doing it on. Or if I'm sitting here in my book room, I've got my Refurb iMac and I just park in my chair, and then I'll just do 3 or 4 videos, which I'll have like Panther Tiki touring around going, hey, what's going on? And then I can spend the other time editing them. So I'll get them done. And then it depends on when I can get to editing them. But it's funny you mentioned the shirts, because at one time I'm like, yeah, if I just keep doing this, I'm wearing okay, well, I'll switch in between 2 videos. And I'm like, who cares? They probably don't even notice what I'm wearing. Like, this could be 2 weeks apart, uploaded 2 weeks apart. I'm pretty sure no one's going to care if it's the same shirt. And if they do, they're not listening to the book talk anyways.
Yeah.
Yeah, I filmed 5 videos this weekend. The weekend just gone. I filmed 5. So they're going up over the next sort of 3 weeks, I suppose. I think, probably.
a lot of comments, Greg.
I know. I say I was gonna get to the comments. Here is the justification of violence is often bound in fine cloth, isn't it? He has a condensed version of the 7-volume set, which is like 500 pages. And he said, I just needed to publish. I need the money, so he put out a condensed version. So that's the one that most people read. And honestly, when I look at the 3,000 pages, it's like, maybe I should read the condensed version. I don't.
So a 500-page book is a short essay.
Vollman likes to write long books.
Except for that Horse for Gloria.
That was published when he was like still in his 20s or something, and still.
That's the only book I've read by him.
It's a good one, but it's his shortest.
Yeah, I'm gonna get it again.
William bought a Graham Masterson book Mirror from the mid-90s from a supermarket rack in Australia. Found it again and reviewed it last year.
Ah.
I'll look that up, William.
Hey, Jim.
It's Jim. Hello, Jim.
And hi, everyone. I unhaul books and forgot that I did, and then tear my shelves apart looking for the books I unhauled.
No.
Yeah.
I can see that. You learn as you do it. Yep. Exciting. Like the first pancake.
It's a thing.
It's a thing. Loved your bloopers.
Thank you.
Loved you. They're so much fun. I deleted some early videos that I uploaded, but I don't do it anymore because I'm always happy with the final product these days.
Good.
Nice.
I have never intentionally deleted a video that I made. I had one disappear, and I don't know how. I don't know if I was going through and accidentally deleted it, but I had one that I liked, and it's like, it's gone. What happened to it?
Oh, no.
I have intentionally not posted videos that I wasn't happy with.
Oh, that I've done too.
Yeah.
I did one that I want to redo it, because I'm really rather famous for not liking film adaptations of books.
Uh-huh.
And I did one about why I don't like film adaptations. And I just sort of said, nah, I don't like it. So
Yeah. I've done a thematic video before, and then thought actually I'm not in. I'm bored, so I'm just take that off because if I'm bored, then everyone else is.
Well, my big thing is I'm really getting worried about video length recently. Like, I think this video is too long because I mean, there's some people who make big videos I like to watch, and it's like 40 minutes long.
Oh, geez.
And I'm going like, I'm sorry, I can't watch it. It's 40, even at double speed, it's 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And that's the problem because I do my weekly wrap up, and they're always going over 20 minutes. I'm saying I gotta not be so verbose.
I do a monthly wrap up, and that usually goes to about half an hour, just because I can't do a weekly one because I don't read enough in a week. But over the month, I'll talk about the videos I've done as well, so it ends up being half an hour.
Yeah, I enjoy watching the 20 to 30 minutes because you can get a little more information in detail. And like typically I just watch in the evenings. That's kind of when most people are watching TV, I'm watching YouTube. So I kind of like that chunk and going to different channels, but I like the depth that some people go into with books, because if it's just too short, I'm like, I don't know if I want to read that. Don't give me spoilers, but give me enough that, yeah, I'd enjoy that. But now I have to go through a bunch of the videos I've watched because there's a ton of books that were fascinating, but I didn't write them down. And I'm like, crap, what were they? So I have to, I'm going to have to start watching BookTube videos with a notebook beside me because it's like, yeah, I want to read that. Yeah, that's interesting. And, that 100 TBR list.
I usually watch on my phone. So, like, I was watching a Steve Donahue video today. He was going through his bookshelf, and I was like, just the sound in the background and typing the titles in and putting them on my Amazon wish list. So, getting them in that way. All right. So here's Hannah. So frequently I film videos on different days, but I still have the same outfit on. Hannah, I usually wear the same shirt for 3 days just because it's clean and I don't want to do that much laundry, unless you spill something when you're eating. I'll be wearing this until what's today, Monday until Wednesday, something like that. Yeah. Jim, since you guys didn't mention it, I'm just mentioning to the two Canadians that I'm also from Ontario, Canada. Lots of Canadians tonight.
There's a BookTube meet up on the way. You guys need to meet up. It'd be cool.
Yeah, that would be well. And because I've just gotten into watching BookTube, maybe the last 3 months is when I could kind of call myself into BookTube. When I started, I was a lot more into the paranormal debunking. Now, the funny thing is, all from Britain. I'm like, shit, I'm living in the wrong country. But yay, now I'm meeting people from Ontario. So maybe, And then when I saw the meetup in Britain, I'm like, I really am in the wrong country.
Yeah, no, but now they're talking about York. That's miles away. So I don't know if I can have a lift from someone because I could go by train. But yeah, apparently the next meetup's going to be in York, which is up north. So that'll be interesting. So we're not in London anymore. London's well easy for me, but York is not so easy.
Country like Wuthering Heights, where the
yeah.
So
I think Alexander Bridge lives near there, so it'd be nice to meet Alex.
I think Elizabeth from Boken and Books also lives in Ontario.
She lives in what's that big city?
Toronto? London?
Toronto? She might live in Toronto.
Toronto's the massive one.
Okay.
I can't remember either, but she lives
She lives in she where they had the trucker strikes.
Ottawa.
Ottawa, that's where she lives. Ottawa. All right.
Hey,
Yeah,
so us Ontario folk will have to see if we can find a midpoint and
So, is Ottawa in Ontario, or is that in a different province?
It is in Ontario.
Yep.
Ontario is a very big province.
huge.
I love to go to Canada. My sister lives in Canada, actually. She lives in Winnipeg.
Oh, wow.
Oh.
Minus 30 degrees.
I've been to
in winter.
Montreal. That's like the biggest Canadian city that I've been to.
Montreal is nice.
I've driven through Montreal on the way to Sherbrooke for a camping trip.
Driving through Montreal is not nice.
One on the outskirts, around
Okay.
Are you
Montreal.
saying there's some
not
bad
through the
neighborhoods
middle.
in Montreal?
No, there's just lots of traffic in Montreal.
Lots of traffic in Montreal. Okay. So Elaine, you said you did paranormal debunking.
No. I
sounds
watched watching the paranormal and debunking channels.
Okay.
I don't do debunking, but I've been into the paranormal, probably since I've been knee-high to a grasshopper, and mostly because you grow up in an old farmhouse, stuff happens, you want to find answers, but your family's Roman Catholic, so you can't really ask them. And you got to try and find books, and it's the 1970s, and there aren't that many books around. So, you find and start reading what you can. And so it's just been a lifelong search that led into astronomy and all kinds of other things.
Wow.
But maybe if I knew more about some of the editing in that, I'd have fun with some of these top 5 channels going, crap. There's no way that falls in the paranormal. Snap a neuron. It's not a ghost. Your pipes just popped, or, there's an air current. That's why the door closed. Don't crap yourself over nothing. And to be honest, it cracks me up because there's a channel out there I know. Well, there's several of them now that are reaction channels. And I'm like, what are you losing your mind over? Like, I used to watch them for a giggle. They would make me laugh because I'm like, do people really believe this is paranormal? And then I'm watching this one person and he's screaming and he's swearing and he's yelling. And I'm like, I've been watching these things for 3 years, and I can honestly say never once have I screamed about anything. And you're like in your 40s. Grow up. Like, what are you freaking out about? But, maybe in their mind it's something to be scary, but I'm like, oi. And then I started watching a bunch of paranormal investigators, and it was interesting because all the different things coming up in the field and the equipment. But the thing I really don't like, and is becoming a huge bugaboo, and again, because I live in Canada and our rules here are different, when you go into a house you don't own, that's called trespassing. But there are a lot of people who go into these abandoned homes because they think that's where a ghost is going to hang out. My thought is, why? They want energy. They're going to be hanging out at the bar and somewhere else. They're not going to be in some broken down shit ass house that nobody's been in for a year.
How'd you like to come home and have a film crew in your house?
So,
Like, I've been away for 2 weeks. Damn, man, what you doing in here?
I'm thinking you're supposed to be researching the paranormal and finding ghosts. Why would they be in a house nobody's been in for eons? And when you think of the history and how long humanity's been around, why do you have to go to an abandoned house? Go in your own house. Like, do you know the history of where your house has been built? Or go to a park.
Most videos, though, too. You're right.
But the thing is, I saw this on YouTube really before I started doing my own channel. There's a whole genre of urban exploration going into the now. Not all of them are hunting paranormal.
Yeah,
Some-
exactly.
Some are just going into abandoned houses, just filming. And some of them are really, because some of them still have owner pictures on the wall. And
Yeah.
at least the better ones actually blurred the pictures.
Oh.
Because they're saying, just don't show these people's actual faces.
And that's it. And some of the places they've gone into, and that was part of, there's only 2 channels I follow now, but I was getting so frustrated because they would go into these places. There were pictures, there were personal letters, there was still clothing and things there. And I'm like, why are you in here? Like, somebody owns this property, and someone just recently, because they don't always show everything that happens. And what really started irking me is when they would bold as brass show no trespassing, CCTV. Then why are you going in here? Like, in Canada, you're breaking the law, but these aren't all Canadian channels, but nonetheless, they'd go in, and I'm like, this is someone's stuff. So this person actually just uploaded a video called The Danger Of, and I've seen a couple like it. And sure enough, they were in there, but they didn't have their equipment and stuff all set up. And didn't somebody come along with bats? Get the hell out of the house. And it got bad. Most of it was blacked out. They didn't show faces or things, but you could certainly hear the confrontation. And I do give the person who was filming credit, because he said, I'm sorry, we're leaving. The door was open. We didn't break in. And the guy's like, I don't care. You knew it wasn't your place. And as they were leaving, they said, we'll tell other people. And he's like, I don't care if you tell them. You're all going to still keep showing up. This goes on regularly. The irony is, the person who uploaded that video, just 2 days before, a friend of theirs, another team, had uploaded from that exact same location. So, yeah, bats weren't warranted. This person was over the top, like ready to lose his mind, fisticuffs. But the person who was making the video has no idea how many times this guy had to come to the property to tell people, get out. And that's the thing that worries me when you see so many of these, I'm a paranormal investigator, because you don't have to get certified or anything. You just need 2 feet, a heartbeat, and a camera. And hey, I'm a paranormal investigator. And it's like, no, you're not. There's science involved. There's history involved. There's record keeping. There's all kinds of stuff if you're going to be serious about what you're doing. But the other side to it is, these people don't stop and think. When you're going to properties out at the dark, out in wherever, you don't know what you're walking into. And I mentioned this because I just did a video a little while ago about a group called Watcher. They were going to leave YouTube, and people were like losing their minds because they had 3 million subs, and they were just going to leave YouTube, and they're starting their own channel. So you had to pay to watch them. And it was, it was like a big boondoggle. But the thing is, there's just so much going on in that field, and just people don't understand that you shouldn't play with things you haven't done some research about. Like, there's just too many dabblers and people generating all kinds of stuff that shouldn't be, and I get not everyone believes it, and that's okay. I don't expect them to. I just wish they wouldn't mess with things they don't understand, or they go, the ones that crack me up are like these big burly type guys. Oh, I'm not scared of you and blah, blah, blah. And then they hear a little ping or a bang, and then they just about pee themselves running out of the building. And all you see is like those old Blair
Right.
Witch.
Let's get Gareth in here.
Well, how much of that is just set up? Going
Well, exactly.
Here, I want to talk about the Ghostbusters tie-in, if you would. You're talking about like fake investigators or something.
Well, and some of them, and that's it, right? It's all for show.
Oh.
Like some of them aren't even legit. But the problem is, and I say part of it goes to the viewer. People have a channel page for a reason. Go read the about section. Don't just send your money willy-nilly to people and then get all pissed off because you found out they're entertainment only. They said it right in the about section. So why have you been watching this for a year, sending them money, and then you're upset?
People send money to YouTubers that go into houses that don't belong to them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fred, we're in the wrong business because I will make my first YouTube check this month. After almost 3 years, I'm getting my first check from YouTube. Not a whole lot of money, but
Hey, it's a start. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
yeah.
But yeah, that's the thing, Fred. And well, the one I know he's a fraud, and I'm sorry, Gareth, but he's British. But his name is Lee, and his channel's called Really Haunted. It's hilarious. The debunkers have a heyday with this guy, or used to, until he copyrighted his channel. So now whenever they debunk him, he hits them with a claim. So if they keep the video up, that money goes to him because he's copyrighted it. Now, how do I know he's a fraud? Because he's telling people that when he went on a trip to Romania, he brought something back, and now Vlad Tepes is in his house. I'm like, buddy, do some research. Why would a Romanian prince come and live in your little shack of a home when he was royalty? Like, no, Vlad is not going to come to your home. Vlad had no use for thieves. Vlad was... You're conning people. There's a reason he's called the Impaler. Like,
well, that's the thing is just if this guy turns up impaled on his lawn one day, they go, okay, well maybe you were right.
Maybe Vlad's come over for a holiday. You know, for like a few weeks in Britain. It's a lovely place to visit.
He's been there for years, and this guy makes cash out the freaking yin yang. He's got like over 200,000 subs, gets I don't know how much money a month, and people sending it to him. And heaven forbid you ever put a comment. I haven't, because I don't watch his channel. I just know because I've seen him on the debunkers. But there's a big brouhaha when any of them have a video. Oh, that's not, he's all legit. He's serious. Okay, then. But if you actually studied the paranormal and how things work, or did some history and learned about Vlad, I don't care if he is like dead for centuries. There's no way he's hanging out with this guy at some place in Britain.
Whoa, what's the old P.T. Barnum? There's a sucker born every minute.
Oh, and then some, right?
And then some. My wife jokes like, if I want to make money on YouTube, talking about books is not the way to do it. Now, you just said I could go, like, there's an abandoned golf course near where I live. And the groundskeepers caught me the other day, says, don't walk here. That's all he said is don't walk here.
Why?
Because they're going to turn it into a housing community, but they do have an abandoned lodge. And it's all boarded up. One time I was walking by, I noticed one of the windows had been torn. The boarding on the windows had been torn out. So I am pretty sure someone went exploring in there. And it might actually be a video on YouTube somewhere.
Probably.
If I wanted to go investigate that. But for me, it's like I don't really want to go into an abandoned building.
No,
You
me
know?
either.
It's like,
So-
I'm wearing sneakers and I don't want to step on a nail from an old boar,
Yeah.
So, Elaine, you live in an old farmhouse. Have you experienced anything that you couldn't explain?
Well, I grew up in a farm. Now I live in the city. I wish I was back out on the farm, believe me. But did I? Yeah, there were several things, and it's why I got into trying to figure things out, because between feeling and noticing that you're not on your own, and especially being younger, I'll never be able to figure it out. I've been tempted to go and see if anything else has happened, because my father sold the farm. Well, he's been gone 20 some odd years, and he'd sold it several years before. But I can't explain why different things happened. Like, I know I ended up getting my arm stuck in a window that dropped on them.
Oh, really?
And I was stuck because I was little and didn't have. So I'm like, okay, I need someone to come help me. Yeah, there were, and lights would flicker. My dad checked the electrical stuff. We changed the light bulb, I don't know how many times. And the only room in the house where it happened was my room.
Oh, okay.
And it would just start whenever. That was more when I was like closer to my teens, and I'd be sitting in my room trying to read a book, and there'd be like blink, 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 blink. And I'd be like, all right, enough already. I'm trying to read my frickin' book. Stop. And it would.
Oh, wow.
Or I'd
wow.
be doing something else, and I needed to concentrate, and it would, and I'm like, okay, you're just pissing me off now, so stop it. And it would, which tells me, like, I don't know if it was like poltergeist, because they say, young, and when you've got anger issues and things, which I did, I don't know if it was me doing it, if it was something about the house, because things started before that. But the fact that it would stop when I would say stop, or when I was getting really agitated and say stop, that's not electrical stuff. Because if it was, and like I say, my dad checked the electrical, we changed the light bulbs. And yeah, welcome to my weirdo world for decades. It's why I got labeled weird from, because bizarre things didn't just happen at home. It happened in college in front of other people, and they'd be like, why are the lights flickering? And I'm like, I don't know. Stop it. I get labeled weird enough for what I read without,
something
light show.
It's okay to be weird on BookTube.
Well, thank goodness.
So someone likes long content personally.
Yay.
Jim says, I guess you guys should start a gang, the Ontario gang.
The Ontario gang.
Leafs.
The Ontarians.
Here we go to Ontario.
We'll meet at Timmy's on the corner at dawn.
There we go.
She's only been to Canada once in 2019, end of the year for some
Nice.
skiing. And William, I only know one other English-speaking booktuber in Indonesia, Whistler Village.
Ooh,
So I guess that's where she went. That's where she went skiing. Oh, she's saying hi to Pip. He's gone, but yeah. And entering abandoned buildings can be scary because of hostile squatters.
Okay.
Exactly.
That's a book right there. Like I was saying,
Yeah.
come home after 2 weeks, and I guess that's a thing too in America. Squatters. It was a thing in Portland, a thing in New York City, and a thing in LA. It's been on TV. Actual people can take over your house.
Wow.
Go to court. It takes months to get them out.
No.
Months.
Really?
Going on in Texas too. Yeah.
It's I don't, Alan. I don't think they're necessarily squatters. It's like when you had a renter.
No, there were squatters, Greg.
The squad. They just
Yeah. It's been on TV like those shows Extra and TMZ and stuff.
Yeah, over
Jeez.
here you can have they have squatters' rights. So if they've been there for a certain length of time, it's harder
Yeah.
to get them out.
You have to go to. They have to take them to court. Even the one owner got arrested for owning. They arrested her in handcuffs.
To go in her own home.
Yeah,
To kick the people that have invaded her home out. Really, my
Crazy.
God.
It is crazy.
I mean, I thought squatters tended to go into empty houses that were just not being resold or whatever. But
They're like the
go-
paranormal investigators. They thought it was abandoned.
maybe so.
that's a good end. You'd be a, paranoid. You'd be an investigator. That'd be your end of the house, and then just take over. They hadn't been there in 2-3 weeks, and you have a right to be there anyway. It was a thing.
We
Wow.
have I have a security camera in the barn, and when it goes off, like when I'm sleeping and I get up in the morning and I see that the security camera went off, I check it, and yes, in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, is there somebody that broke into my barn? But it's never that. It's usually a ladybug that flew across the camera.
Animals?
Pardon me?
Never get any animals?
No,
No.
the doors are always locked, so they shouldn't be able to get into the barn.
But I mean on camera.
Mm.
No.
Oh, you're just talking about the light goes on?
No, he's talking about animals setting off the camera. I mean,
Yeah,
Ladybug.
my father gets like coyotes and even mountain lions on his camera all the time in Arizona.
Oh no,
Mm.
my camera is indoors.
I
see,
see.
I have a Ring camera at my front door, and my wife likes to hang seasonal wreaths on her
Yes.
door. She has her spring wreath, fall wreath, summer wreath, winter wreath, and last summer, a wasp started building a nest in her wreath,
Oh no.
and I kept getting my Ring notifications. There's someone at your door. There's movement at your door, and the wasp was sitting in
Moving.
front of the camera, setting off the. And it was kind of sad because what I eventually did is at dusk I put the whole wreath in a big trash can and just tied it up and just put it to the side. And then for the next day, a wasp would come by
Looking for
looking for the nest.
You found that sad.
It is kind of sad because the wasp said,
That's
"Where's your home?"
Yeah.
Oh, so we have security cameras in the front porch so that we can see anybody driving into the driveway or walking up the stairs. We also have very tall flowers, and when my wife and I were out one night, the front porch security camera kept on going off because the flowers kept on swaying into
Oh,
the
no.
viewing angle. So we had to turn the front camera off so that it wouldn't go off every 5 minutes.
Yet you said that the sensitivity that it's not so sensitive to that much motion. Got to give a lot more motion.
Yeah, our newer cameras have face detection, so they can identify whether it's an animal or a person or
Mm,
a plant going back and forth.
Oh, that's cool.
that's handy.
More difficult when a tree tries to break in, though.
You laugh, but we had a major windstorm across Ontario 2 years ago, and there were instances where tree branches went through windows. So it's happened.
Trying to think of, I do remember because there
derecho.
were some massive trees here in the city, like right by the roots,
Mhm.
laying on their side. Yeah, that was crazy.
So let me haunt no one. I guess she was talking about
The
Ghost?
ghosts.
Oh, hello, Nicole. Nicole from Bookish Nook.
Hello.
I am only. How late am I? Okay, I'm only 9 minutes late saying hi to you.
good,
You're still
good.
here. That's okay.
Not too bad.
And Williams Library saying maybe I should clarify vagrants. And Lee, hello, Lee. Yeah, you are really super late because we're almost at 2 hours and probably time to shut it down pretty soon. But
Gareth's just getting started.
but I did say hi to you within 2 minutes of you making your comment. So that's pretty
Well,
good.
I've got one of my marathons coming up in a couple of days, and
Pardon me,
me and Dave shows on a couple of days, isn't it? So I can do one of my marathon ones then.
No, Gareth. Your shows at Dave are just epic. One went on 4 hours or something like that.
Yeah.
Yes.
You go like run errands and come back and still catch up.
Yeah, go
I've
out to
done that.
dinner, come back, and you're still talking.
Yeah, well, you two were the guests last week, weren't you?
We
Yeah.
were the last
Yeah.
live show.
Yeah.
That last,
That's
yeah.
cool.
That was
That
really
was the
cool.
last one.
Oh, Nicole saying
I
that.
sent a message to Dave earlier saying, have we decided on a guest? And he's replied, but while we've been doing this, so I have no idea what he said, so I can't remember. So
Yeah, well,
We'll-
to
we'll
return
do
the favor, like after the summer, like you guys.
Yeah. We're gonna try to have you guys on.
yeah, that'd be good. The week after this week, we're not going to have a 2-week gap because the week after we're going to have Bookish Chaz on. So he's free from work. He said he can do that day. So we're going to get Bookish Chaz, which would be good.
That's cool.
Yeah, nice guy.
Well, we've
Don't know
got
whether he's up for a 4-hour show.
yeah, we've got Tommaso coming up, Tom at LA Books, then Floss at Grape Jelly Library, then Pat at Book Chat with Pat. Big L.
Oh yeah,
Big L was going to be on today, but he couldn't make it, so he's got to get back on. Then we're going to do
Big
Marcus,
Al.
like a double date thing.
Yeah,
like
Big Al has a job schedule. I mean, he told me what his job. Well, I don't know if his job is public information, but he just can't necessarily pop onto a show.
Mhm.
So when you have Big Al on your show, then you'll have Big Al there. You'll have Big Hard. Are you going to be Big Greg?
Well, we're going to have Big Steve Donahue out coming back too.
Yeah.
When's he on, Greg?
He's on the 27th.
27th.
wow.
Okay, cool. So right in, man.
Day before my birthday.
Yeah. And then we don't know. We have a couple people in June, but I got called to jury duty in June.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, wow.
So I don't know. It's one of those things where they say you call the night before and they say you may be needed, you may be not. But every Wednesday night in June, I got a call. See if I'm required to show up. So depending on the lot, I may be having, like, if we had an afternoon show on a Monday, say, sorry, got to cancel. But who knows?
Yeah.
The thing is, out where I am, it's a teeny tiny little courthouse. No major trials or major crimes out here. So
You won't be sequestered.
I very much doubt out here you have anything that serious. I'm imagining like DWIs and, you know, I did check like a crime report for my area. It's like carrying a weapon without a permit and it's those sort of issues.
Well, maybe you need to shake things up a bit, Greg.
Trespassing on an abandoned lodge at a golf course.
Yeah, you know, I don't think they're gonna. He's just gonna say scram.
Like if you dress like Ghostbusters, you have a legitimate right to. Yeah, just tell me you have a booktube channel. I have a booktube channel, and I'm doing the research.
But what books would be inside or related to?
Right,
Haunted Canada. Well, okay, you can't say Haunted Canada, but
Maybe there is a ghost. Maybe this is a dead golfer who's playing the holes at night. The ghost.
funny thing is, the first story in here is about a ghost on a golf course.
Oh, perfect.
There's a movie in Advance, I think is the name of it.
Elaine, do you
Oh.
enjoy reading your ghost stories like during the summer? Is there a particular time that you enjoy reading them?
All year.
All year round. Okay.
Wow.
Love ghost stories, and because I've been doing the banned book thing as well. I had a plan, then I heard about the banned books, and so my reading list went out the window. But then I decided to do 1984 and The Handmaid's Tale and a whole lot of the heavy books. So I'm like, I need ghosts. Do you read ghost
Yeah.
stories as well?
No, I don't. Sorry.
You don't?
No.
Oh, they're amazing. And look, they're nice and short. And they're about Canada. Actually, I found a great one, and I just read it last month. It was about Pennsylvania, and it was true ghost stories as well. And I love the way this author introduces it, as in they're true stories because people are relating their experiences, what they heard, what they smelled, what they sensed. So it's kind of cool. And there was one story, and I can't remember the location. It's in a different province, but it's about a restaurant, and there's two different ghosts that people talk about. But then she shares that the one ghost, there is some historical evidence to events that happened. Maybe that's why the person's there. But the other ghost was all made up for publicity, which is cool that the people would come forward and say, no, this isn't part of what's going on. But yeah, ghost stories comfort me. You know, other people read soft romance or gushy stuff. I read ghost stories because that's my happy place.
When we're doing Horror Mayhem, they have all the local horror, and I was doing research about cryptids and monsters in every state in Virginia, and apparently
cool.
there is an urban legend in Virginia. It's about 30 miles away of the Bunny Man.
Never
The Bunny
heard of
Man
it.
is supposedly a man who lives
In
under
a
a
bunny
bridge and dresses up in a bunny costume, and he hacks people to death with an axe.
Oh my
goodness.
gosh.
And I've got to visit that bridge.
Yeah.
Okay, you know what? That is a Garbogus story right there.
Yeah.
The bunny suited killer.
Hey, the new bestseller.
Well, I'll see what I can find when I go there. I think this is more internet legend than anything else, you know.
Mhm.
Oh, come on. Can't be.
Fluffies.
I
Fairies. Fairies.
Together. Maybe he had a bad relationship at a Fluffy meeting event.
Maybe.
perfect
Set him
premise.
up.
That's
Set
a
him up.
perfect opening for a Garbogus story.
I don't know if it's ever been written down. It's just people just may talk about it. Like,
You gotta
Don't
ask
go
yourself.
don't go near that bridge, you'll get
Should it
axed.
be written down? Should it be
So-
written down?
The closest I've gone to reading ghost stories is the cryptid reading event that happened last November,
Hmm.
and I read about Loch Ness Monster and Bigfoot,
Ah,
and it was great because I read a Time Life volume, which was very objective. So not only did it talk about the stuff that couldn't be explained, it also talked about the hoaxes that were committed by different people.
Mm.
And it talked about the credibility of the people that were making the claims. So I found it incredibly interesting, and I found it very balanced in the way that it talked about Loch Ness and in the way that it talked about Bigfoot. So I
Nice.
enjoy books like that where you have a balanced approach.
Mm.
so I would like
Actually-
that. Bigfoot.
That reminds me. And let's see. Can I can.
I think Nessie's still a big part of Scottish tourist culture, isn't
But
it?
no one really believes in Nessie anymore, do they?
Monsters,
Yeah.
mysterious
Crowley's house on
Loch
what's it,
Ness.
Bullskill? Yeah, Bullskill. Something like that is the name of Aleister Crowley's house that is still there. in Loch Ness.
Alistair
cool.
Crowley was in Scotland.
Yeah, he owned the house on Loch Ness. Jimmy
Really?
Page bought it.
Oh,
It's
wow.
called Moleskin, I think. I can find it. Let me.
Alistair Crowley. So that's the dude that was the witchcraft guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same guy. Okay.
I'm actually just reading his book Moonchild. I started that, but then it got hold for the ghost for a while. But this book, Fred, it's part of the Encyclopedia of the Unexplained and Mysteries of the Mind. I don't have the whole book. I'd love to get that, but they go through Loch Ness and a lot of different things in here as well. And yeah, there's a whole other genre I love reading about. It's part of why my channel is all over. I'm either talking about the Celestine prophecy and Paulo Coelho and his parables, or I'm off in the land of monsters, ghosts, and skinwalkers and that type of thing. Because I just love reading and learning and chatting with people about books. So this is fun. I'm really glad I jumped in. Thanks.
Well, you know, Elaine, I have the same problem with my channel because I read so many different things. I do nonfiction, I do the horror, I do the science fiction, literary fiction. It's kind of hard to gather some people together. It's like, oh, he's doing horror. Oh, wait a second, he's doing that historical fiction thing. Nah, don't want to pay attention to that.
Well, that's an issue with me with the book events, because I'm doing Horror Mayhem and Book Trek and Rocket Summer, and Mike asked me if I wanted to be a host for Dune on the Range, and I said I don't really read a lot of Western stuff, and I wouldn't mind, but I was doing other things. He said, "That's all right, I don't have to read that much. Just join in anyway." So it was like, all right, but then you feel pressure to be a good host and actually take part properly. So yeah, I do think because you want to read so much different things, it means you want to be involved in lots of events, and obviously when you become friends with other booktubers, you want to co-host as well. And
I get frustrated sometimes because there's all these events that I want to join that I say I can't join every, like there's a party at two people's house on the same night. Where do you go?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. We're doing the equivalent of just running back and forth different parties. And, it's 4 parties in the same street, and we're running. I'm just gonna go down the road for a minute. Hold on, you know.
Yeah, I was correct. I was correct, by the way. It's Bullskin House, still there on Loch Ness, Crowley's old house. Bullskin.
Wow.
Yeah.
I've only been to Scotland once, and I need to go back. One of my wife's best friends lives in Scotland. It's a good excuse. She goes there all the time, but I need to go myself.
I want to visit. I really want to visit Scotland.
Me
It's
too.
like top of the list of where I want to visit. Well, my wife's not listening. Well, she wants to visit like beaches and sunny weather places. I want to go to Scotland.
Scotland is not sunny weather.
No, it's not sunny and not a lot of beaches in Scotland.
I go to Heian Rye.
That's in Wales, isn't it? Well,
Yeah,
no,
that's
Dad's
beautiful.
thinking of DNFing Lee. Oh, it's a book she's reading.
Hmm.
That's the sequel to the Exorcist.
Oh, is it?
So Bat has done a number of videos where she visits local cemeteries in her
Yes,
area.
I was about to mention that she does that actual ghost visiting stories under the local Texas ghosts. And then Nicole reads very widely too.
Nice.
Another person reads. I like it when people read wide. I mean,
Mhm.
I would find it very hard just to be devoted to one genre.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there are some people who have very successful channels that are devoted to one genre.
Well, and they end up just because their channels like that, they end up reading less of other things as well. I've noticed that
Right.
some people will say, "Oh, that's not really what my channel does, so I'm not going to read that." And you just think, "Well, that's a bit of a shame, because if you didn't have a channel, you probably would read it."
Mhm.
Isn't it crazy how we all look at the channels differently? Like for me, my channel is just for me to talk about what I like to read. And I read a wide variety
Yeah.
of books.
Nice.
And I'm not going to pigeonhole myself to reading nonfiction solely because I would get bored.
And
I need that break.
The thing is, I'm not really in this for making money.
Yeah.
Like you said, if I wanted to make money, I could do a video of my cats. There are some people who just video cat, and they're wildly successful, and for whatever reason, my cats don't catch on. I'm sort of ashamed. It's like, why aren't you as popular as these other cats out on the internet?
Well, you can do one on Teddy at least, the walking cat. You'd catch on.
Maybe.
But Greg, now that you have had a check, you can say now you're a professional book critic.
Actually, that's kind of a problem because now I can deduct 50 cents for buying this from my income because I could discuss it on a BookTube. So now I'm professional. It's a tax write-off.
Yeah. Okay.
No. It's kind of curious because when I was working back as a computer programmer, I had this boss who says everyone should have a home-based business. And he had that because he says you want to write everything off on your taxes. You don't have to make money on your home-based business for, is it 3 or 4 years? And then you just close down your business and start a new one. And
much paperwork.
He was one of those people who, if he had to pay income tax, he was throwing a conniption fit.
Mm-hmm.
So, like we'd meet for lunch. You go out to lunch, and on the way home for lunch, I got to stop at the bookstore. He looks at the bookstore, looks around, said, "They don't have it." I said, "What do you do?" He says, "I'm deducting my mileage from my car."
Oh God!
What? And it's like, I don't know if it's true or not, but he actually requested the IRS to audit him. He says, once you've been audited, they can't audit you again for 6 years. So now I can do anything I want to for 6 years.
Oh my goodness.
I mean, he's just one of those people. I mean, he was just absolutely one of these people who would fume at the mouth about paying tax. And on it, I say, like, we live in America. We don't pay a lot of tax. We're a very low tax country. But that was his. What? That was his life. And now, when going back, it's like, okay, now I can deduct everything in my books, my taxes. But well, then I'm not making any money. I get to all write it off. But if I don't make enough money, then I have to shut down my business. I don't want to shut it down because honestly, I'm going to spend a lot more on books than I'm ever going to make.
Yeah.
Well.
All right, let's get ready to shut this down in a couple minutes. Yeah, you got a couple of comments we want to get through. William had to say goodbye to William. There's Bad thanking you for talking about her ghost hunting. There are definitely easier ways to make money on BookTube. Pets are huge. I mentioned, but my poor pets don't get a lot of views.
My kiddos need more views on Fridays. Panther was so sad he didn't get lots of views because Fridays are kids' days on my channel.
Okay.
Plug in there for Panther.
One of my cat videos got over 4,000 views, but honestly, that's not a huge. I mean, it's okay, but
that's more than my whole channel, Greg. Come on.
Disclaimer: if one of my videos got 4,000 views, I would be nervous. So when I see people getting 4, 6, 20,000 views, I'm like, oh my God, being that exposed. I feel pretty exposed right now, but to be that exposed, I don't think I could handle that.
That's a good point. Sometimes I think maybe I should just shut up and stay in my nice little safe corner because, everyone's nice and lovely comments, and it's probably good to keep it that way.
Well,
you are at the risk of getting stupid comments from people, aren't you? Once you get like bigger and bigger.
Yeah, one of my most popular video is I like big books, where I just held up all my big books, and it's like 4,500 views.
Wow.
Wow.
It's like amazing, but it's like amazing.
But I can't imagine what Ollie at Criminali must have felt when one of his videos hit like 400,000 views. I mean,
Wow.
to be that exposed that quickly would scare me.
Mm.
It is. I mean, can someone say, "Aren't you that guy on BookTube?"
Yeah, maybe he gets recognized in Brighton.
All right, so bad. So I use BookTube for friends who want to talk about books. Obviously, see the book and recommend. Yeah, as I said, these lives are my pub night. It's like going talking to your friends at the pub and just having fun.
Yeah,
Nicole, but I need to get a pet and I have no time. So here I am. Nicole, you can go down to your shelter and grab a cat or two. You know. They're easy. They're fun. They'll wake you up in the morning. They'll wake you up in the morning when they want breakfast by jumping on your toes.
So would dogs or cats be the most viewed?
I don't know.
gamer videos are very popular, aren't they? So I know some of the stuff my son watches on the gamer community, the subs and views on those videos are insane. They're like enormous and much bigger than BookTube. Much bigger than BookTube.
Yeah, they watch people playing and watching them play.
Yeah, and they end up being kind of like comedy channels. So they just sort of mess around, and those are really big, kind of successful channels for them just messing around.
Yeah. Oh, Oreo made 1,000 just by chasing a worm. Go Oreo! Yeah, I remember Oreo chasing that worm.
I'm going to do a video tomorrow where I chase a worm.
You gotta be a cat, Gareth.
Well, Gareth,
I can pretend to be a cat.
wear a cat costume and chase something.
I mean, come on, let's do this.
You might get a lot of views.
Wear a bunny costume, live under a bridge, and kill people.
And hack someone to pieces.
Right.
Then you can do my life in the insane asylum video.
Now, the sad thing is, I've got a dragon onesie, and my channel's named Cobalt Dragon. I think
Elaine,
I have a new video coming. Wings, tail, the whole bit.
Wow.
We all need to wear onesies in our videos.
But Nicole, didn't you get? Were you scared when you saw that your video hit 24,000?
That's a lot. I mean, that's my most views, 24K by writing poetry, but it really doesn't do anything. That's a lot of views. I would be kind of.
That's amazing.
I mean, Fred, my perspective is different because I'm a performer as well. So I'm in a band. So if I get a lot of views, I'm pleased.
Yeah.
But it's different kind of psychology, isn't it?
Right.
I wouldn't want to do a gig and there's only 5 people there.
Yep.
True.
So Mr. Beast Gareth. Oh yeah,
Beast.
gaming is huge. All right, he's a gamer for the. Okay, everyone, we've been on.
Yeah.
Al and I have been for 2 hours and 13 minutes.
Woohoo!
It's a long show, so let's have some closing words. Or do we have any closing words you want to partake to the viewers?
Yeah, can we go around and say what we're about to read?
Oh,
We haven't done it yet, have we?
Let's do that. Let's start down with Alan Lane and go up that way.
You come back to me, please.
I'll be right back.
my
I have
ebook.
to, I have to go. I don't know how much. I should have mentioned that earlier.
All right, Elaine, what you got?
Because I'm finally getting organized, have my horror mayhem books ready. And
Wow, all together in one little place. That's amazing.
Yeah, I have my little basket and a few other books. So I've got my horror short stories, Cold Moon Over Babylon,
That's a good
The
one.
Amulet. So those are the Michael McDowell. Carmilla. And I had heard you
good.
talking about that, Fred. Frankenstein. And
You
I
have a
need to
lot
get
we were talking
an
about.
Edgar Allan Poe story started. He's been waiting longer than Sitchin. And then I have Celestine Vision, Aleph, Steering by Starlight, which is a Martha Beck, Judith Orloff, The Empath Survival Guide, and Positive Energy, Judith Orloff, because, you know, there's horror, and then I need to read other stuff too, because I mix it up.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm coming up to.
All right.
That's awesome.
What about you, Fred?
For me, I think I've got 4 on the go. So Magisteria, which is a nonfiction about science and religion and how those two helped each other, fought against each other in history.
I remember you saying about that on the channel.
Yeah. And then for Horror Mayhem, and that's an ebook. And then I have another ebook, which is The Haunted House from Hell by Marc Lestrange. And that is going to be a fun horror fan fiction. And then I've got my nonfictions. I've got Aztec and Maya, an illustrated history.
Oh,
Ooh, that's-
nice.
And then my science goal for 2024, genetics, which I did not read at all in April. So I've really got to step it up in May.
Cool.
Yeah,
I'm
Wow.
nerding out.
oh, that's neat.
What about you, Gareth?
So my first Horror Mayhem story is going to be by Edgar Allan Poe. Right. Get rid of that light. Because I want to read William Wilson.
Okay. Because
Yeah,
of the doppelganger.
Doppelganger, yes. I'm going to read that. But then I've got, there's a local guy who writes flash fiction, guy called Damon Wakes. And I was chatting to him at a bookstall, and I got a couple of his books. He got one of mine. These were like $5 each, so they're really short flash fiction. So I was going to have a look, see if there's any horror-based stuff there. And I'm going to go into my loft tomorrow and get down some Neil Gaiman, because I've just had an epiphany that he's local, and I need to read some Neil Gaiman because he grew up around here. So yeah.
Guys, in the
And
first
I was thinking of doing a video. I have to find time to do it, but I need to go down the beach and do a video about the ocean at the end of the lane, because they opened a road. They named it after his book, and I need to sort of do a little thing about it. I reckon, because it'd be cool. You know, it'll fit the event, won't it?
Yep.
So
Alan.
there we go. That's what I'm reading.
I'll go last.
Oh, I'm the host. I get to go last. You get to.
Okay, well, I'm just reading what I've already talked about. I'll just share my time.
Hmm.
Go ahead.
All right. Well, I got to start Holly this week, and then I'm going to be picking up some sort of short story. I don't know what short story I'm going to pick up yet, but on audio, I'm going to pick up this book called "Whisper Down the Lane" by Clay McDonald Chapman. It is set in Virginia, and it is about Satanism and the satanic panics.
Oh, that sounds good.
I read the description. It's like loosely based on a short true story, but I think it's like, oh yeah, there were kids who were supposed to be Satanists and killed animals and other kids, and he just was.
Anybody heard of the Memphis 5? The Damien Echols. There's been books or documentaries on it. No. Okay.
No.
Go ahead.
All right, that's what I'm going to start, and then who knows? Oh, here's Nicole's last thing about Not At All, because it's about poetry, and I have poetry books out. Crickets.
Oh, okay.
All right. You know, when I did my Poetry Thursday videos, I got maybe like 80 views on a good poetry reading. All right.
You do them anyway, don't you? There's a few different things on my channel that don't get a lot of views, but you do them because you want to do them.
I do my short story videos. I love doing them, and they're just bombing, on view-wise. But I love it. I
think they're good, Greg. I really like those videos. I watch them all. I think they're cool.
Well, I'm still going to read them because I've been really enjoying reading the short stories, and who cares if they bomb, right?
Hey, I've been doing politically correct bedtime stories on Mondays by James Finn Garner. Now, the funny thing is they were written in 1995, so they're not politically correct anymore, but they're still hilarious.
Yeah, things are always changing, aren't they?
All right. Well, everyone, thank you, Fred. Thank you, Elaine. Thank you, Gareth, for just popping into this open mic. It made for a lively evening. And thanks for Randy, who was there for a little while and had to go eat a steak dinner, I think. Yeah. All right, everyone. And everyone else in the comments who's still there. Good night.
Have a wonderful evening.